Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Here to do a review of the Micky Dolenz concert in Madison, Wisconsin on Saturday, April 16th, and a couple other things I'll show. In fact, let me just go through that stuff quickly. I was at Barnes & Noble yesterday looking for Monkees related stuff, magazines, the third of the three issues. It was Shindig, Mojo, I think, was the first one. Michael Nesmith and Monkees, and then I forget the name of the third issue. Anyway, we got the third issue. It was like a sci-fi type magazine, not I can't remember the name of it, Cineplex, something like that. But anyway, so I looked at PROG magazine, and I've talked about PROG magazine, how I don't typically buy it, mainly for the cost and also sort of their bias. But you know, I usually, if I'm there, I'll glance at it, I'll page through it for a little bit, but I typically haven't purchased it. But certain exceptions, obviously Marillion is one who's a priority oftentimes, and so what did they on the cover they did a whole thing on Marillion. I haven't read the article yet, but it does come with a thing about, I don't know what this is, like these things that they're doing now. It's like it's not a poster, it's like it's not a lithograph exactly, but an hour before it's dark. So H, right there, and even though my feelings are kind of just lukewarm about the new record, I'm always supporting the band. There's a lot on the history. There's a wealth of things and material they can write about the band. Mark Kelly wrote a autobiography recently. Of course, I haven't bought it. Just Steven Wilson wrote a book. A lot of books have come out. Steven Wilson did. And Jordan Blum has an Opeth book. He's done Dream Theater, and the first one he did was Jethro Tull. And then there's a couple others, but there's another book that just came out. Been a bunch of books, biographies that have come out recently. I'm forgetting who the last one was, but the Steven Wilson one, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't want to spend a ton of money on it, but there's enough in there because I like hearing Steven Wilson talk about music and his tastes. So, but this also has an article on Nordic Giants, who, I think I can find it. I mean, a lot of the stuff in here, there's a thing on the Flower Kings. I'm a lukewarm Flower Kings fan. Arjen Lucassen from Arion and Star One. People love him. More power to the people that love him, just like a lot of these bands I've never been able to get into. I've always kind of likened the Arion project as like, We Are the World with PROG All-Stars, but not necessarily, but it's just cheesy to me. I liken something like Never Ending White Lights from Daniel Victor, the concept of that, and is a similar fashion to be more of my speed and my tastes. Steel Eye Span, I never thought of them as a prog band, but they were written in here too. But there's a couple other articles in this. I just, I don't know. Maybe I just felt like, I haven't bought one of these in a long time. A lot of the issues of PROG magazine. And the thing on Amorphous are a band I've known. I know they do that cover of Levitation from Hawkwind that's good, but people love them, So it's often bands I either have heard about or I know of, but I'm not, enthusiastically passionate about. But I'm trying to find the thing on Nordic Giants, though. There is an article on Nordic Giants in here. I'd have to go to the front, I suppose. There it is, page 56. So there's a thing on Cynic, too, which... The Cynic album from last year, while I liked, it was a little weird to take. I mean, it sounded just like Cynic, but, it didn't have the two Seans, of course, so, anyway, it was something just to pick up. You see sometimes that when you go to Barnes & Noble and we're looking for something else, even books like graphic novels from Brian K. Vaughan or something like that. So here's the Nordic Giants article. So Nordic Giants, if you don't know them, they're a post-rock band with a lot of like samples and stuff like that, and different vocals. Have kind of I don't know, they have a kind of an ethnic or post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic or sort of scientific bent to their style, and they're very social and political, like global warming and stuff like that. But I've always liked them. I've been a fan for 5 or 6 years. I remember posting a video showing those 2 EPs that I got. I just was floored by. So anyway, onto the Monkees, or onto the Micky Dolenz. I'm wearing the shirt. You can see it's the tribute memorial, performance. It was only something like 7 dates. So So they weren't coming to Minneapolis here, but they were playing in Madison, and the lifer fanatic, lifetime fan, the wife, even though she's not, she's not that partial to Mickey. She likes some of his music, but her guy is Nesmith, of course. But she wouldn't normally, like, if it was just Micky Dolenz by himself, I don't know if we'd even go. We might, but we've seen Mickey by himself a few times, and she'd seen him before she even met me. So, but the show itself was really a tribute with video footage from the show and just different stuff and live concert footage interlacing on all the three members that have passed away. Of course, Michael Nesmith just in December, Peter Tork in 2019, and Davy Jones back in 2012. Mickey talking about each one of them a little bit. The same band that they had with Nesmith on the last tour in we saw them in November twice. Although it's not going to remain that way, but including Pete Finney, who is a slide guitar player, or pedal steel guitar player. He played in Nesmith's call that First National Band, the Return of the First National Band. He played on the tour we saw him, and he's played on some of the more recent albums. They played with the Monkees tours that Nesmith was the last few. I actually bought a Pete Finney T-shirt. I've never shown anything on camera, and I was wearing it. The wife was saying, are you gonna wear? Are you gonna bring her wear it? And I didn't even think of that. It's like, oh, because the last show we saw in Minneapolis back in November, there was another woman wearing a Pete Finney T-shirt, Pete Finney fan club T-shirt. And so I wore it, and she didn't. We looked like twins. I felt really stupid. It's like she probably shouldn't. Now she's not happy the fact that I ended up wearing it and she didn't. We were waiting in line. It took a while to buy this merch. They didn't have the Mike and Mickey previous tour shirts, any of those left in her size. I bought one, but she didn't ever get one. But so I guess someone was behind me. It turned out it was John Billings, the bass player for the band. I guess he wanted to buy some merch before they ran out. It was the final show of this very brief, tour that Micky Dolenz and Celebrating the Monkees was doing. But he wanted a photo with me, and I don't know if he's found me on Facebook at this point. I should tag him. But it was kind of surreal, like, oh, the bass player. The merch guy was saying, where do you get that shirt? And it was on Nesmith, on the Video Ranch site. But the show itself, I'm looking at the set list not for the show, on Setlist.fm from a different show. It's from the Joliet, Illinois show the night before. Was it the 13th? It was a few days before. And it was a pretty epic show. They did 28 songs total. And then they did the tribute videos and stuff like that for all three of them. Yeah, I mean, it's some of the stuff they hadn't done, like She and Saturday's Child. I'd never seen them do. So I mean, as a sort of a makeshift Monkees, being educated in the Monkees history. I mean, I've known the hits and known a lot of these other songs. I've seen them so many times with the wife live. But I still am not versed in a lot of the deeper tracks. The second set especially, like, I'll Spend My Life With You, Take a Giant Step. That was Then This Is Now, which is a song from the 80s that I know. It wasn't from Pool It. It was from like a best of compilation, I guess, but it was a single that did chart. It was, you could say, probably their last charted song. I don't know if any of the Good Time stuff from 2016 did. I don't think anything from Just Us. Anyway, Valerie was on there, which I know that song, but when I think they played it, I didn't recognize it right away. Yeah, I mean, the band's still pretty tight. I think the band I thought was maybe a little tighter on those two shows we saw as the Monkees last fall, the Mike and Mickey show, but the Alex Jules, the keyboard player, and the two guitarists, one of them's longtime Wayne Avers. I mean, of course, unfortunately, Christian Nesmith and Cersei aren't on the tour. They weren't on the tour we saw last fall. Unfortunately, they had left, but Wayne Avers has been with them for ages. And the other new guy, his name is Amin something. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's really good. I don't know if they're going to still stay with Micky or not. Not all of them are. The drummer, what's his name? Alex something. Um, anyway, yeah, they. Let's see here. Live drummer. I should have the list. Yeah, it's not going to come up. Anyway, so it was, it was a great show. I mean, it was great to see. Part of it is like, this is maybe toward the end of the time. Just in front of the set list, I could just go through some of the other songs. They did all of the standards. They did, Clarksville, different drum, because Nicky did that on that's Nesmith's solo song that, Linda Ronstadt made famous. But Micky on his new album, Dolenz Sings Nesmith, does that. Papa Jean's Blues, Mary Mary, let's see here, A Little Bit of Me, A Little Bit of You, A Girl I Knew Somewhere, For Pete's Sake, Randy Scousket, Pleasant Valley Sunday, of course. No Time, I'm not sure if that's a song that I've seen them do before. I don't know if they did it last fall. But Porpoise Song, which they haven't done as much. The first few times I saw them with my wife, they did that. That's a quintessential Micky song, and when I first started listening to some of their music after I met my wife, Head was the one I liked the most in some ways, and that was the sort of, it was very trippy. It was like a Pink Floyd song to me in a lot of ways. But it is a Carole King pen track, of course. Me and Magdalena, the one track from Good Times they did. I would have gone for more Good Times, but Can You Dig It, also from Head, by the Peter Tork track. That's very kind of trippy, groovy, Everything the Belly Dancer. Stepping Stone, Going Down, Daydream Believer. Listen to the Band, and I'm a Believer as the encore. So, yeah, I mean, it was unlike the trip when we went down to Milwaukee last November, when we had the problem with our hotel. Our hotel wasn't really a problem per se, other than it didn't come with breakfast, but it was smooth. We ran into one car that was on fire. Unfortunately, I hope that the people got out okay in their car. Who knows? It was right around just a few miles west of Menominee. And then we had pizza afterwards at this place called Ian's Pizza, and they have salads there, but unfortunately the salads aren't available after certain hours. In fact, it may not even be for dinner. So that was a little bit of a downer. And in the next morning, we were going to get breakfast at a pancake place or a breakfast restaurant. There was one that I saw, and this was, of course, Easter Sunday just a couple days ago, where a lot of places aren't open, and they weren't open. The place that was open was a further walk, and we drove by there, and there was a line outside the door to get breakfast. So we ended up stopping at a Perkins, but a lot of places weren't open on Sunday morning. But I mean, the commute to Madison, fortunately, wasn't quite as bad as the commute to Milwaukee. In terms of time, it was just a slightly shorter commute. So I wasn't dealing with a pinched nerve. There were a lot of things that were better about this trip than the trip to Milwaukee last November. But we don't have Michael Nesmith dying again, sadly, or not sadly. But yeah, it was. I saw ours, of course, and I've got a couple more shows coming up this week. Alan Parsons Project's playing. He's not doing all of not Turn of the Cards. My friend John just posted something on Facebook. He's doing the Eye in the Sky tour. He's not doing all of Turn of a Friendly Card. And unfortunately, one of the members of Alan Parsons' band was Gary something from Procol Harum, who passed away. So that's also sad. That if we would have gone, the show was originally scheduled for last September. We were going to go. That would have actually been the first show since COVID I would have gone to. But they canceled it for COVID reasons, I would guess. So. But hopefully they'll finally get to see Alan Parsons Project. Not that I'm a huge fan, but, and the wife is actually going. She likes Gaines People Play, a couple other tracks by him, but some of them consider Alan Parsons Project a little bit of yacht rock. So, but yeah, that's coming up. And then The Warning, the female sister, the all-sister band from Monterrey, Mexico, the heavy hard rock, a little progressive in some ways, that a core worker of mine is obsessed with. They're coming a week from today on Tuesday, the 26th. So, and then I'm not sure. Cream, there's another Cream sort of tribute of the Sons of Cream. That's going to be here that I don't have tickets for. And Steve Hackett Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets is coming this fall, and some other stuff is still down the pipeline. We'll see. I mean, wearing a mask, you know, they're not enforcing the mask, and not every place is enforcing, like at the Amsterdam, vaccine cards. But you know, I'm happy to see live music, you know, and live comedy and everything like that again. Even if I'm sort of trying to pick my spots and still trying to budget, but you know, so if you saw Micky Dolenz on this brief tour, it's just really like this parts of the South and the Midwest. What did you think? Are you going to look to see him? He's doing a tour with one of the guys from the Rascals coming up. He was on the Beach Boys cruise also. That Nesmith was originally going to be with him too, I guess, or at least they were telling him that. But and I mean, Mickey's probably still going to tour. He'll still tour for a little while because his health is at least okay for what we know of. But I guess the belief is he's not going to be doing these like 2-hour epic shows with the whole tribute memorial thing. He's going to probably stick more to his own stuff. And I mean, you know, he does the vocals, some lead vocals on songs that weren't his, and I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know how often. I don't think we're going to be traveling to see him unless it's something like this. Now, if it was him with the Nesmith family or something, I might make an exception. But otherwise, if he comes in town, maybe we'll go. My wife's not so much into tributes, but you know, Nesmith is the one exception if it's something to do with. If Christian and Cersei and the Nesmith siblings form some kind of Nesmith plays Nesmith or Nesmith family band, first national Nesmith band, something like that, where they play a lot of Nesmith stuff, we probably will consider traveling again for it because it's her guy, you know. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I don't know. I'm almost up to 200 subscribers for what that's worth. I don't know if I'm going to do anything for that accomplishment if I get to that point, if and when I get to that point. Maybe something like 500, like a Q&A, or maybe, I don't know, I'll have to think of something. Maybe do something, one specific video. But otherwise, you know, again, I know people like the PROG Corner recently reached 1,000. Hats off to him. I know a lot of people are really doing well with their YouTube numbers. My friend Dave Richardson, he's at nearly 1,000 himself. But he doesn't like do videos every week. He just has kind of picked his spots, which is ideal. In an ideal situation, I would do the same thing, but I'm trying to still just substitute my typing, writing blog habits for YouTube. So, but again, thank you for watching. I got some more stuff coming up, hopefully this week or next week. But we'll see you next time.